Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet, brought to you by FandomWire. I am Andy Signore, and we got some exclusive information about the new Resident Evil Reboot. Now, this has been announced before that they were doing a reboot. They've even announced the director of this film. The director was 47 Meters Down director Johannes Roberts, and he wants to take the film back to the game's roots. He wants to bring it back to more of the survival horror versus the action. This is what we've known so far, and even he was quoted then. We have some more information I'm going to give you, but let's start to what we know. Was he stated earlier to Screen Rant. We are in active development of that at the moment. I pitched them a take, and they really loved it. So we're just gearing up on that as we speak. Really, I'm in the office all the time there. So yeah, it's great. It's going to be super scary. It's super, super scary, and it's just getting back to the roots of the game. I think at the moment, I'm not really allowed to say much more than that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, we can say more than that because we got an exclusive production document that gives us the casting grid, the characters that will be in the film, as well as a bit of the log line. So let's get to what we know so far. So the film is, as they said, a reboot, directed by Johannes, who again did 47 Meters Down and 47 Meters Down Uncaged and The Strangers Pray at Night. He's done some more, smaller, I feel like, thrillers. And that could be really good for this. The film is also being written by Tony Gillio. I don't know how to say his name, but Tony Gillio, who did a Doom State prequel. And he also worked on Resident Evil Afterlife as a second AD. So he's had some experience here in this sort of world. He wrote Doom Annihilation, Death Race 4. Not the best work to be jumping on, but has at least written in the genre itself. But what we've just learned is that this film will focus on Claire Redfield. The residents of Raccoon City must fight for their lives during an outbreak of zombies and other monsters created by the mysterious Umbrella Corporation. This is a reboot, and its lead in this film is Claire. Beautiful. Claire grew up in an orphanage with her brother Chris in a strange S-hole, then I must say the S word, place called Raccoon City. She often saw strange things in the orphanage, like a scary little girl with a sack over her head. Kids would often disappear, and the staff would say they'd been adopted, but Claire didn't buy it. As an adult, Claire has gotten away from Raccoon City, but she goes back to try and convince Chris, who's now a cop, to leave. While there, a zombie outbreak causes chaos. It turns out that the mysterious Umbrella Corporation has a virus out that is causing chaos. There's more to it. I don't want to spoil where they go, but safe to say, going back to the roots of the game. Also, who knows how long this will take to get out, given virus stories, etc. Clearly, we have a long ways to go with so many stuff in paused production right now. This one is in current production casting mode. That said, beyond just Claire, they are casting Chris, but they have, we don't know who's going to be any of these, but they have apparently made an offer out to Kaya Scodelario. That's a scoop we have here. It's exclusively heard first. If you don't know who she is, she was in Crawl, which I loved. If you guys haven't seen Crawl, man, and you're home this weekend, go watch Crawl. It's fantastic. She's really, really good in the film. She plays sort of the main girl who's sort of having to go against the alligators. I really liked her performance, and she was also in The Maze Runner. But Kayla is who they are going after to portray this new character. Well, not the new character, but the one we know, Claire. She will be the lead, followed by Chris, who is wholesome, handsome. Chris grew up in the orphanage as well, and similar play. She goes back. It's the same sort of log line that they're giving. Siblings trying to get out alive of the situation. And they're trying to obviously figure out how to survive in this new crazy apocalypse. Other characters in the film we can reveal. Let me play some nice Resident Evil footage while I play this. Birkin, Dr. William Birkin, who worked at the orphanage. He's in it. It's a supporting character. They're looking for someone in their male 40s to 59. Don't want to spoil what happens there, but there's a little bit more, obviously, if you know the character from the game. Leon, hungover rookie cop who has just started working in Raccoon City. Recently shot his partner in training by mistake. Then Leon's dad, a big shot in the force, has to bail him out and have him transferred to Raccoon City. And then we have Wesker. Wesker will also be in this film. Handsome, but not that wholesome apple pie way that Chris is. Wesker is a cop in Raccoon City. He's been approached by a mysterious woman, Ada, also clearly in the film, who asks him to do something. Don't want to get into too much plot points of the film. Irons is also in the film. An overweight man who has the air of someone who is counting days until his pension arrives, and he can spend his afternoon at the golf course. He is a chief of the police, and he's another person in the film. And then we also have Jill Valentine. She has a striking, intelligent eyes, mischievous smile. Jill Valentine is a cop in Raccoon City. She and Chris have feelings for one another. She's a badass who fights zombies during the outbreak. I'm also told there will be some monsters we know and love. We might see the Licker is one I see mentioned in here, as well as some others. Again, I don't want to get too much into spoilers because some of this document does reveal a little bit more than I want to tell you guys. But that is the main stuff we know. The biggest scoop there, obviously, being the casting, the offer. It's an offer out to Kaya Scodelario. If you're not familiar with her, again, she was in Pirates of the Caribbean. The one, what was this one? The one with Javier Bardem, and she was in the Maze Runner films. She also played Eve and Moon. She's good. She's up and coming. I think we'll see more of her. I really liked her in Crawl. Guys, Crawl is so much fun. She was also on the show Skins, and she's been in a lot of stuff you may have seen before. So that's the biggest scoop, aside from the other characters that we're getting in the film. No word on when or if this will happen, but apparently this is supposed to start getting going in July of 2020, but obviously a lot of things being delayed due to the thing that we're experiencing right now. So there might be a lot more to go with this. This might obviously still be stuck in development for a while. But this film previously, as we sort of knew here, as we go back to look at sort of what, why did this go back? Oh, sorry, wrong way. While we went back, this is supposed to go into more of the, as you said, the roots of the game. Rather than just be another action movie with Milla Jovovich, they want to get to scary. Now, the interesting take, though, is what does Milla Jovovich think of all this? Well, she commented actually on this back in September 2017 about comments of Reboot News that they were sort of working on one, and she said, okay, well, good luck with that. After they filled around the report, she said, I think a lot of people with these franchises kind of put the cart before the horse, Jovovich said. There's a danger to that. They've been wanting to reboot Resident Evil for a long time. And listen, I love the Resident Evil world. I think it's a great property. I would do it if I was a producer. I think what made Resident Evil so special is that the people involved really loved what they were doing and were really fans of the game. I would suggest that you find people that have the same passion for the property before you talk about reboots. I think you can get into this kind of genre. I think if you get into this kind of genre, people are very sensitive to fakes. There's some real fans in the sci-fi action horror world, and they're not idiots. They can smell when something is done because people love it, and when something is done just to monetize an opportunity. That's likely why Anderson's take resonated with zombie master George Romero. Failed to get his version of the property off the ground. Repeated discussions of reboots and spin-offs for the 15 years have failed to get traction, as Anderson and Jovovich have turned out sequel after sequel after sequel. Do you even guys remember how many films there have been? I went back to sort of remember that Resident Evil started back in 2002, and there's that amazing scene with the laser room. But then, could you name the second one? I'm curious, Resident Evil fans. Let's play a quick game. Can you name what part two? Which one was part two? Because I would have failed this test. Part two was Apocalypse, Resident Evil Apocalypse. Can you name part three? Then it was Extinction, where they sort of had the Las Vegas and everything, and Nevada shut down. And then what was part four? Do you remember which one part four was? That's right, that was Afterlife, and that was in 3D. Now, number 5. Which one was number 5? Did you even know? How many do you think there are? Did I already say? How many do you think there are? After Afterlife, then there was Retribution, of course. And then after Retribution, this one had a lot of production problems due to a tragedy on set, etc. But the final chapter was released in 2016. All the films by Paul W.S. Anderson, and all of these films focusing on Alice. Now, we did have Claire in the film, played by Ali Larter, who showed up in the last one and a few other ones. Ali Larter did play Claire previously, but these films have obviously revolved around Alice, and the final chapter sort of did bring everything seemingly to a close. I didn't see it, but I'm assuming so. If they called it the final chapter, maybe they didn't. But that's what we know so far about this film. So Paul W.S. Anderson, who was really involved in this film, is no longer involved. Weren't they together at one point? Are they still together? I should have looked it up before I went. I thought they were. Did they end up not being together? Maybe I'm just completely spouse. Yeah, Milla Jovovich, the present. That's why she's bummed. That's what I thought. Milla Jovovich is married to Paul W.S. Anderson, so not only is she not in the film, but her husband, director, she has 3 children with, clearly kind of annoyed, like, well, wait a second, why aren't we doing this film? Shouldn't we still be in this franchise? Because that's one she obviously owns. So look, that can make sense why why Milla maybe had said some of the things that she said, calling out that, you got to have a true fan make the film, because since the final chapter, he hasn't been doing much, but he's working on Monster Hunter, which is, we saw the posters for recently. Could be pretty cool, but they're working together on that, another video game adaptation. So that's all we got on this story. Thank you for sticking through. Are you excited about this? What do you think? Tell me your thoughts down below. The game, I remember playing this game actually back in the day, the original. It was a lot spookier than what the action movies became. At the same time, the action movies were what they were. I know some of you actually really enjoyed them. They're fun, guilty pleasures. Would you like them to go back to the horror roots, the survival roots, rather than the big bang, 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 bang? Is that a clever way to adapt this? Or is Milla correct? We should just go back to the way they did it. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, this was a FandomWire exclusive. Thank you, FandomWire. I reported it over there, but thanks to our scoopster over there for helping us. We got a few more in the works, so stay tuned if you want to hear some more in development stuff. Thankfully, these are coming in as we're trying to find more news, so bear with us. Stay tuned for more scoops coming. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you haven't, check out our Jason Bourne scoop, where we talked about what that film is going to be about next. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. I'll be back soon. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.